Alrighty, welcome back for another episode of Growing Clawson, the Clawson Chamber of Commerce podcast, powered by Hooper Marketing. I'm your host, Alex Spieshak, the Executive Director. Today, we are here to get psychological. We are here with the one, the only, Dr. Adam Duberstein. Yeah, I only did that because I messed up his name first, and we'll leave this part in because I'm an honest human being. We'll cut it out being embarrassing, but I'll tell you what I did wrong. So today, this is gonna be a bad day. Today we're here to talk about what you do, who you are, being a part of the community. Obviously, we'll talk about what you do with your practice, and you've got some exciting news coming up for. I know you said it launching very soon.
Yes.
But first off, I'd like to say congratulations because you are our newest council member, which is very exciting.
Thank you.
We, had an opening occur, and you applied and went through all the rigmarole that goes with it, and you came out on top, which is exciting. And I'm happy to have you a part of the council and be able to work with you because I think you got a good approach on how you look at things, and
Thank you.
I appreciate your brain because mine never works.
Oh, no,
so
not true.
I need help.
True.
All right. So today, we're going to do a little dive in on what you do. So
Sure.
The first section is sort of like background in your journey and how you got to where you are. So what inspired you to become a psychologist?
So that's a great question, Alec. And the thing that really inspired me was, a couple different things. So I majored in it in undergrad. I was a psychology and English major, double major. And I really got curious about, I took an intro psych class, and that's really what started it. And I took this intro psych class about 26 years ago. And I had a wonderful teacher, and she really got me interested in what was going on in the brain, and we had a great textbook that was actually really fun to read. So I thought about it, and as an undergrad psych major in college, and I didn't really feel like I was ready. So I spent about 12 years wandering in the wilderness. I worked during that time as a student affairs administrator. I worked on different college campuses around the country. I did residence life, academic advising, those kinds of things. And then I came up here to work at Oakland University and did a job there for a time where I was an advising administrator, and discovered that what I really liked wasn't so much dealing with administration, but it was more dealing with the people. And I wanted something that would bring me, that I could still grow in and help people deal with problem solving at a deeper level. And so a friend of mine said, you might want to check out the Michigan School of Psychology. They're having an open house. And I went in hoping I wouldn't like it. And I got there, and I met the woman who became one of my major mentors. And she and I are colleagues today. And she gave me a tour of the place, and the rest is history. And that was back in August of 2015. So I've been involved formally with psychology ever since that.
Nice. So that's the root. That just sort of shows that your one path may not be where you start at,
right?
But you can end up where you need to be.
Absolutely. No, you said that perfectly well.
That's exciting. That shows that you can change, and you can do what you want to do. It doesn't have to be locked in out of college.
Absolutely.
Or out of high school.
Absolutely. No, a lot of my colleagues and I didn't get our doctorates until we were in our 40s, or even older. So you're definitely not locked into one job forever.
That's awesome. That shows that you can continue to follow your heart and find that path that you need to.
Absolutely. You're right.
So for the next question, what is an area that you specialize in or focus on when it comes to your job?
Yeah, so I focus and specialize in a few different things. Of course, I deal with depression and anxiety. Some folks with PTSD I also see as well. Most therapists do see those. Grief and loss and relationships, see a lot of that. See a lot of career issues as well. But as far as like specialty areas go, I would say I work a lot with men's issues, adjustment to disability. I work a lot with elected officials and people who work in public service, people who are candidates for office. I work a lot with people who work in higher education, people who work in the K-12 world, so like teachers and administrators in education. A lot of people adjusting to chronic health conditions I see also. So kind of a good mix of folks.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot when it comes down to what you do. When you look at psychology as a whole, or psychologists or therapy, what are some misconceptions people have about that?
Oh, that's lots. They have lots of misconceptions. One is that I can read their mind and know exactly what they're thinking. We don't do that. Instead, what we do is we try to help people based on what they say and how they're presenting. We try to help them figure out what it is that's best for them. So that's really our job. One of my old supervisors always says that good therapy is like a mirror, and we should help people to see themselves better, rather than, look at and we can't ethically look at somebody and be like, oh, you have such and such condition, or you must have dealt with such and such. Instead, we really have to get in there and talk with people and get to know them, and put on our therapist hat and really help them figure out what it is that they want to do with their situation in their life.
That's awesome. There's a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, any industry you can look at with misconceptions, and it's cool to hear it from, no pun intended, but the horse's mouth, hearing it from somebody who is in there doing it, because, I obviously love my wife, Beth, love you. But to utilize her as an example, and she can kill me later for it, but to utilize her for an example is, she grew up in a household that was not, a therapy or approach to that mental health. I always make the joke that, the Catholic household, you swallow that and deal with it when you're on your deathbed. But this might end everything for me. But the thing that I think is so important, and a misconception that I see from outside looking in when it comes to therapy, is it is a need to be able to have somebody that you can talk to, somebody who's a third party, who is not biased to you or to somebody else, that connects to you in some way, shape, or form in life, and having somebody to be able to work through those issues of life, because the human brain or the human condition only takes you so far.
Right.
And, operating on, what's the old adage? We only operate on 10% of our brains. I know that's been broken
right,
years
it's been
ago,
broken, yeah.
but only operating with whatever power you have puts you at a disadvantage, and being able to utilize somebody else who has those things that can help you along the way, I think is very special. So I applaud what you do.
Thank you.
Therapists, I think, are very important, and psychologists and psychiatrists and all the people who sort of fall under that umbrella of psychology, I think, are very important to have in society. And I just want to say that because I think it's
Thank you.
I think it's cool. And I'm sure Beth will love me for saying that out loud. But she has changed even since we've been in our relationship of, understanding the importance of mental health. And it's not just about, get over it or I'll do this. It's really taking the time to take a deep dive into what happened, whether it's, no trauma is a small trauma, but whether it's, something that happened in a day or something long-term, it's, it's being able to deal with it and working it out. So since you've started your journey, how have you seen the psychology field change?
Oh, well, it's definitely changed in a lot of ways. I think COVID really is what the big game changer was for us. More people from a lot of different cultures and backgrounds, interestingly, have been seeking therapy. I think as a result of everybody being so cooped up during COVID, and how do you deal with that? And that brings up a lot of existential questions for people. People alone with their own thoughts is never I shouldn't say never, but it's rarely a good thing.
Yeah, you can say never.
No, okay, then I guess I can't say never.
You can say never.
So it's rarely a good thing. It's that, like you had said, Alec, too, it's important for people to have, an objective person if they feel that's what they need. And that's what we provide. And yeah, I would say COVID is really what changed things. AI is changing our field. People doing notes using AI as the note taker, or people having AI listen to their sessions and then using those, recordings as the notes, or to create the notes. Sorry. That's changed things a lot.
Yeah.
So really learning how to roll with those changes. And also too, one of the things I do that makes me a lot of fun at parties is I'm an ethicist of psychology, and because I'm an academic. And one of the things so I study the laws and rules of psychology and psychotherapy, the laws and rules that govern it, and those are always changing, and you got to keep up with that too.
Yeah, that's something that it's sort of like a development of what's happening with going back to AI. It's AI where we're at now is forever changing, and we had an AI presentation before we recorded this with the chamber, and she said, well, we set this a month ago and I've already changed this presentation several times over because there's been implementation of new, technology, or there's been new things that have been set down. Granted, there aren't too many rules or, guidelines for, AI thanks to, current policymakers, but, it does change, and its approach does change, and how it can work and how it can function.
Right.
And I think, like in any industry, it's good to be up on those rules and regulations, because it's not just AI, it's the psychology industry, it's doctors, it's, the new way of approach to a procedure or a conversation, so I applaud you for that, because that's important to be up on that knowledge. You can definitely fly off the seat of your pants when you're doing things, but when it comes to the mental health or physical health or anything like that, it's always best to be on top of what's going on. So what do you wish more people understood about mental health?
Well, a couple different things. One is that is that not everybody necessarily needs therapy. It's not necessarily for everybody, and that's okay. Most people, I would argue, come and go from it over time. Some people stay in it for a while and for a long time, it works for them. Some people stay in it just for a little while and it works. So really the amount of time that it takes is going to be different for each person in each person's situation. So I wish more people knew that. Also, not to rely on social media for a diagnosis, just because social media might get you thinking about it, but then ask a professional. If you're not sure, don't diagnose yourself from social media, would be another thing that I wish people knew about mental health. And the other thing that I will say, this is kind of a bragging on my colleagues a little bit in my field, is that we're a pretty diverse field. You can find therapists of different philosophies and ideas and backgrounds that you can connect with. So if you're thinking, well, I'm the only person out there that thinks like me, no one else does, I guarantee that go to a therapist convention and you'll see a bunch of therapists who someone will fit for you and how you think. They'll have the tools that are there to help you grow and improve.
I like that. And if you can't find the right therapist, a bottle of Jack and a pack of Reds really works too.
That's why I spent so many years in graduate school.
Yep, that's why graduate school and all that
right.
money went to schooling, when you can just solve it with a bottle of Jack. Sorry, that disclaimer, just a joke.
Right.
Make sure to actually see a therapist and do not treat life like I used to. So mental health today is definitely it's a more common approach or more visible, whether it's social media or what you see just in general, than what it was when I was a kid, 20 years ago,
sure.
or even my parents, 40 plus years ago, or, as it sort of develops. And for me, I guess my question that's stemming from that is, What do you think that we're seeing? Obviously the pandemic may have had some involvement in that, but what do you think that we're seeing, why we're seeing such a prevalent swing when it comes to mental health? Not only the good side of taking care of your mental health, but the other side where we're seeing people having those mental breaks or, doing violence because of those things. I guess what's that sort of dichotomy between the two?
Well, we're seeing it more because we're talking about it more. My sense, if you study history, is that it's always been there. Problems have always been existed through the beginning of human history till now. Mental health issues have existed. Stress has always existed. Stress makes mental health issues appear or makes them worse. The other reason why is, the world we live in. I think people are overwhelmed by a constant news cycle, a constant demands on their time from various people. Communication technology has really changed how people relate to one another. I'm from the time where they remember the rotary phone. I don't know anybody who's a rotary phone now. So
that's fair.
Now just today my phone is going off with text message sounds and, Facebook Messenger sounds and other things that I have ringing to it. And they're all legitimate messages. And it's like that can be overwhelming for the brain. And I think that also causes those kind of stressors cause, you feel like you can't shut off. And that's one of the things we do is spending a lot of time teaching relaxation skills.
That's fair. I think it sort of dives into my next question, which is tied to that. How has social media impacted mental health?
Big ways. Some things it's done have been good. So it's called attention and awareness to certain conditions and certain populations who are really struggling. It has also, though, kind of like fire. Fire can cook you dinner or it can burn down your house. And social media, I've always said that, and social media is the same. It's just a tool, right? But if you misuse the tool, that can be problematic. So social media has done some good things, but it's also spread misinformation. It's made people diagnose themselves with things that they haven't, that they don't have. It's caused people to feel stress and experience, pain. So I think that, social media has a place. It's just people need to be mindful of how they are using it. Use the powers for good and not for evil.
That's fair. Yeah, I think social media as a whole, definitely I've seen the impact just from, my mental health perspective, whether it's, obviously I do it to myself because I put myself more in a forward-facing, community-facing role, whether it's with the chamber or council or Lions Club or one of the other many things that I do. And, I can see that, and people, I don't think realize the effects when they go and they, say something negative, or even the positive side of things, seeing the positive comments, those can be validations that somebody might be missing in the world, that, whether it's, they might not have that mother or father who's, saying congratulations, good luck, or they might not have that significant other that's there backing them in their corner, right. And they see that positive or that negative, and that really pushes that, good or bad. And I think people need to take a step back when they look at that. Social media is a tool that we utilize, and obviously, as all tools come with a good or bad lens. I think that people need to focus on the good, but it's so much easier to push the negative or the negative narrative or anything like that. And I always encourage or applaud the people who utilize it for the good. And not the negative, and it's okay, and it's an okay place too to air your grievances with something, but keeping it as professional and as positive as you can, even when you're airing, is probably a better approach than the negative, because that can affect anybody, not just me, not just you, not just Walter, but it can affect the kid that sees it who, says, oh, this person said it was okay to say this. And then that translates into a conversation that they have with a friend of theirs that may not like that word or that thing. And, it's a vicious cycle sometimes.
Right. No, people need to be careful about what they say. And I think one of the things that people often forget is what's said on the internet stays on the internet forever.
Yeah.
And it never really gets erased. And I think that human beings did not have the idea that things that they said and did would be permanently recorded when these technologies were invented.
Yeah, because it's much easier to hide your identity when you're, painting on a rock wall back in Mesopotamia, and you're some of the first humans versus one of these viral clips that'll eventually come out of one of these videos that I do, whether it's good or bad, depending on how Walter edits me. And I think that that's very important for people to remember, because it is correct. And yes, there has been, I think, as equally amount of good that comes from social media as also as equally amount as bad.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that definitely, not to go on a social media, this is still about mental health and psychology.
It's all that ties together.
But it does tie together. It's a big impact on people's lives. I mean, I make the joke all the time, if I wasn't in the position I was with the chamber, where I'm, consistently posting, sharing businesses stuff out, that I probably would not have a social media, because the detriment outweighs the positive.
Absolutely.
Of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I can connect with my, friend from elementary school. I'll start writing letters again versus, sending a DM. So
also, people tend, I think to your point too, Alec, like people tend to misinterpret some of the things that go on social media, and sometimes they make themselves the main character when it's not meant to be about them. There's that. And then sometimes people forget, because they're presumably like just talking from their own head, and they're not really necessarily thinking about how it'll land, because there's no one else in the room with them. No one else is live with them while it's happening, presumably.
Yeah. There's a term for those people.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, called keyboard warriors.
Yes, keyboard warriors. Yes.
I call those people out every day. Yeah, and it's tough, and I know that people can think that they're saying the right thing, because it could be an emotion that they feel in the moment, or it could be a thought process, or it could be something that they've lived by for their 60, 70, 80 years on the planet. And that's how they live and die by it. But when things change, or times change, or things evolve, and you don't evolve with the times, that can be tough. People who get frustrated at AI. Yes, AI can be, again, it's another tool.
It's a tool, absolutely.
It can be something that can be used for good, and it can be something that can
totally
be
a tool.
Utilized for evil, but it's not. It's not something that's going to go anywhere. So you need to be able to understand it for it to evolve, because then you get those people who fall into the tricks of people utilizing AI-generated voices to say, Grandma, I'm stuck. I need money for a ride home. And, people get scammed out of money. Or you have those AI-generated videos of, hey, did you see that picture with Trump at Area 51?
Yes.
Walking the alien? It's somebody sees that and they go, I was right. The aliens are real. And in reality, it's a generated photo. And, and then when they do release that aliens are real, we'll never know, because everybody will just assume it's AI. You're gonna get something, you're just gonna be like, it's just AI, and it's like the legitimate release of aliens. It's it's just a funny approach. Not to say that I am a believer, but I am a believer. And that's for another episode, and maybe we'll go down that rabbit hole. All right, I think we're gonna tail back to where we're going with this, or else I'm gonna go for hours on hours with this.
No, you're good, man.
So, through your studies and through what you see, what are some of the biggest mental health issues that you're seeing in today's world?
In today's world, the biggest one, I think, is some kind of anxiety over current events in the political climate.
Okay.
And I see clients across the political spectrum. So I have clients who are very, very liberal. I have clients who are very, very conservative. I have clients who are somewhere in the middle, and all kinds of views. What they share, though, is some kind of anxiety about a lot of uncertainties in the world, whether that's war and or feelings that the country is becoming more divided, or feelings about just safety in general. I'm seeing a lot of that.
Are you a little tailoring to that too?
Yeah, go for it.
Have you seen a lot of people who are worried about their finances?
Yes, tons.
From the things that are happening in the political scape now.
Yes, lots and lots. I've actually been. It's funny we're talking about this. I was talking with a psychologist that I supervise earlier today, telling her about the idea of financial therapy, and that's special training that you can get if you're a therapist and want to learn more about how money works.
Yeah,
the psychological impact of money, and it's training I want to do at some point in my life. But I hear more about the cost of things than I've heard in a long time. I had somebody tell me that they actually had a client drop therapy because of cost. And if that impacts anybody, there's plenty of ways to get therapy free or very low cost. I can talk about that too. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of financial anxiety.
Yeah,
it's a scary time, and people are pressed for, and what makes it scary is that people are pressed for resources in a lot of ways. And there are more demands on our time, so it's harder to get resources.
Yeah, I mean, we see that across the board, especially from the chamber side of things, where it's,
really?
Somebody who is in an industry where something's being affected. And not saying that not everything is affected, but there are things that definitely have more. You're seeing a spike when it comes to the used car market where, COVID made it even worse than what it was, but now these manufacturers are charging more to make these new cars. So then what do people rely on? They rely on the used car market. And something that I had a conversation with one of our members the other day, actually it was this morning, and he said, I've been goes and bids on cars, Dean Sellers, different dealerships, different things like that, bid on used cars to try to bring to his lot. And he bid on this car, and he was like, I can't go any higher than this because this car is, not worth it. It was not in the best shape. And somebody outbid him, and the guy won it, and he drove it off the lot that day, and a wheel fell off.
Oh.
And so now this man is out of a bunch of money for a car that is now sold to him, and now he has to fix that said car. So you're looking at inflated prices of a used car,
poor guy,
that is so beat up a wheel fell off. So it's tough when you see that, and not to just lie in like the car market, it extends to so many different things, food. One of the things we're going to start seeing soon, depending on how Congress takes a look at that, but we're going to start seeing things soon. And again, this is not to be a fearmonger or to be somebody who
right.
says these things, but there are going to be a lot of industries that are affected by the closing of the Straits of Hormuz. And these industries, you're going to see less and less things on the shelves. You're going to see less and less things produced because they're going to run out of the oil supplies that they're working on. There's no more tankers that are coming in. You're going to see those extra inflated gas prices, even though, we're the second leading when it comes to that. So I can definitely understand where fear comes into that and can really affect the mental health. As I sit here talking about it, my brain's just like, oh, did I fill up my gas tank? Let's make sure to fill that gas tank up before we see another price. And,
Sure.
you dive into that. So from a psychologist point of view, what would be your approach when it comes to somebody who's stressing on that?
So the first thing is we live in a 24-hour news cycle. And let's talk first about being mindful of how much news a person's actually consuming, and making sure, and also reminding clients, helping them make sure that the news isn't going to report that little Sally Smith got an A on her spelling test film at 11. It's going to report about the things that are heavy in the world.
Yep.
And not usually, there's not usually a segment on the news that's like good news. It's usually things, like I say, that are quite weighty. So cutting back on your news consumption, I think, is always a good thing to do. The other thing is realizing the differences between news and entertainment, because oftentimes that line is blurred.
Yep.
There's also a graphic that floats around the internet that I am pretty sure is accurate, that lists on a spectrum from liberal to conservative different major news sources.
Yep.
And so being mindful of news and commentary integrated, and really looking for those sources that are going to be as unbiased as possible is the most important thing I think a person can do. Yeah, of course we want to hear our own side, or maybe some of us want to hear both sides, but always going back to the most neutral source is an important thing. And so being careful what kinds of news you consume as well.
Yep.
That's a big thing. And realizing what you can control versus what you can't control. That is huge.
That is big.
And there's only so much that you can control. And there are ways that you can take your power back, but you might not be able to save the world, but you can make a difference for yourself and your inner circle that's positive.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's important to focus on those moments, and not to take away from your job or any clients, but I think that finding small things that you can do, whether it's, trying to brush anxiety or trying to brush worries, and really developing those into your daily mantra of how you approach life, because I think that's important. And, I've been somebody in my life that suffered with anxiety and depression, and it's not something that you should be ashamed of or something that you should hide. It should be something that you embrace is a bad word, but it should be something that you try to focus on to, pull yourself out of those struggles, whether it's, the anxiety or the depression. It could have been something that happened in life, and utilizing those small techniques, I think, really work in that situation.
Right. No, and it's I think acknowledging it. It's sort of like
that's a better word.
We don't not acknowledge. We acknowledge. Too many double negatives there. We acknowledge
not acknowledge.
Right. Yeah. We acknowledge a broken arm, or if we have a cold, or if we have
a stub toe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is the same.
Yeah.
This is the same. They're all.
Yeah, I've got a stub brain.
Right.
That's what I have, and it's very bad. It's very bad.
No,
I'm going to need 10 of you, Adam. That's what I'm going to need. No, but it's important, and I think that we need to acknowledge those inner feelings as much as we feel those outer feelings, and that's
right.
special. That's a special approach that you can take to it.
Right. No, and I think it's about acknowledging that you have these feelings, and it's a condition, and just for some people it's very lifelong, and can even be disabling. And depression, anxiety, and for other people they might be very temporary.
Yeah.
But either way, a person deserves treatment and to take care of it.
Yeah. It should be an approach for everybody, not just a singular view.
For sure.
And I think that people will look at it, and as we continue to grow and evolve and see these things more often, I think people are more enough to do that. But it was something very different, even just back in the 90s.
Sure.
You broke your arm, you go get a cast, you have a depressive episode because of your broken cast, and you can't go play with your friends. You're sent to your room and you deal with it, versus having somebody to actually talk to on that. And I think that that's important.
No, absolutely. The way we look at mental health treatment has changed throughout the years.
Yeah.
I think we've become more open to talking about things in the last maybe 15, 20 years than we were 30 years ago.
Yeah. It's definitely a change.
It's a big change.
Yeah.
And some of that, I think, is the younger generations are just more open in general.
Yeah. More embracing,
and more, there are also more treatment options available to people than there were. And I think there's this like one flew over the cuckoo's nest mentality. And a lot of us from the, older generations, I feel like I'm showing my age by mentioning that movie, but
I know your age. You're not quite there yet.
Thank you.
You're not quite
That's why
there
I like
yet.
you.
You're definitely closer to my spectrum than you are.
Oh, thank you.
Of that generation. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Fantastic movie.
It's a great movie.
Great
book.
But yeah, that's
everyone should see it and see the movie and read the book. But
we can't all escape from a mental institution in the ways that were depicted in that movie.
Right. And treatment isn't like that at all. And I think some people think that it is.
Sometimes I wish it was that way. I would love just a white room with a cozy vest that keeps me very safe.
Oh my goodness.
And people who just drug me consistent. No, bad joke. No, it's but that's I think the fear that a lot of people have, because society portrayed mental illnesses that way for so long. So, even though social media is newer within the last 20 years, 80 years ago, in the start of the talkies and stuff like that, when there was a mental institution or a psych ward or whatever the case may be, you were always dragged away in your I call it a Snuggie vest, but I'm sure there's a better word. The Houdini vest. Is that a good word for it? What is it called? Straight jacket. There we go. Wow. I am going to struggle with that one, and that's embarrassing that's going to go on the internet. So, you were taken away in your straitjacket, and it was generally anywhere between 2 to 4 guys in all white clothes.
Right.
And you were thrown in the back of a van. And it happened to children, adults, and that's how it was portrayed for so many years throughout movies. And that can create a fear of somebody who's like, I don't want to end up like Johnny. He just got taken away in the middle of the night because he saw a ghost. The voices were talking to him. So the cure for that was not to figure out what the voices were saying or why they were there. It was, well, we need to lock him in a room because he's a danger to others. And I think that was sort of my point when I went off on this tangent / rant that could get me canceled at any moment. I think that with social media and the world that we live in now, you're seeing a spotlight. Doesn't mean it's always a good spotlight, but it's a spotlight nonetheless.
Yes, I think you're correct. There is a spotlight, and you never quite know when and where the spotlight will hit. I would say.
That is very true. When and where the spotlight will hit is very, it's tough.
Very tough.
It's very tough because we live in a world where your mental breakdown could just be heard by me, myself, and I, or it could be seen by millions of people.
Right.
And that's the toughest thing. And I think the thing that we draw off of with social media and mental health is, we see somebody who is out in public, maybe having a break, psychotic, whatever the case may be, and they're sort of going off of, whether they're talking, they hear the voices or whatever the case may be. And you see a lot of people who record it and they say, oh, this is funny. This is going to go great on social media. When in reality, the thing that person needs is help.
Right.
And it doesn't always draw help. It draws more anguish or hate or, fear.
Right. Because social media has made it easy for us all to become Monday morning quarterbacks.
Yes.
And I watch it now with people talking about things that they don't have all the information about.
Yeah. It's, being able to jump to, and again, it goes back to social media is it's a tool and it should be used
for certain
properly. It's not going on there to fearmonger a situation that's going on or to talk about something, but it's a place where you should be able to communicate and you should be able to do it wisely. It doesn't mean it always happens, but there are always going to be the positives and the negatives to both. But so we're gonna divert a little bit outside of the social media because I feel like that was a big section. So this next section is sort of a breakdown of the major things that we see in today's world.
Sure.
Your stress, your anxiety, and your burnout. Those are 3 things that focus or I feel like people are are seeing more in today's world, whether it's with work, whether it's with school, whether it's with different things in life that affect you. So this first question for this section is, how can people tell the difference between everyday stress and clinical anxiety?
So that's a great question too. And we think about it in terms of frequency. How often does it happen? Intensity, how difficult does it make it for you to function? And duration, how long does it last? And if it's long lasting, makes it difficult for you to function, and it feels like it's just not going away anytime soon, it's probably more than just stress.
Yeah, and I think that you obviously talk to your professionals if you are struggling with this. But I think that if you're in not to go back to the internet or social media after I said we're leaving it, but it can be something that ties into it when you're having just general stress that's affecting you. That could be misconstrued for anxiety or something else, and then you type your symptoms into Google.
Right.
And then you're on WebMD, and you're either having a panic attack or you're going to be dead in 10 minutes. And it's it's that crazy of a switch where you're reading it and you're just like, oh, I'm probably fine. And then you get to the next sentence and it says, but if you feel this, call your doctor, you might be dead. And you're like, and then it can elevate it can elevate it worse. So we're gonna jump away from the internet again. Sorry, I tied right back to it.
No, you're correct.
So what are the early signs of burnout people often ignore?
Exhaustion, is a big one. Changes in mood. Things you enjoyed, things you previously enjoyed, you don't enjoy anymore. I would say is a big sign. Not looking forward to doing the thing that you are burned out on. Feeling maybe like a shortness with other people, or even with yourself, in kind of how you talk to yourself. Those I would say are some of the bigger signs, and it tends to manifest as just this feeling of like a low grade hum of exhaustion and just not wanting to do much of anything, not wanting to do that thing, whatever that thing is.
You just described me to a T.
Oh no,
that's terrifying. Well, you know what? After this, Adam, we might need to talk. Yeah, no, I think that that's important, and that was not to make light of the situation, because burnout is real, and it can be a very tough thing, because you can just brush it off and say, oh, I'm just tired today,
right,
or oh, I'm just this, or whatever the case may be. Oh, I stayed up too late, or my kids kept me up, or my dog, or my cat. There's so many different excuses that you can use. But I think when you really dive into it, I think it's super important to look at those things, because I've dealt with it firsthand. And the joke I say is a joke, might be a little bit of reality in sometimes. And it ties into, the job. I think sometimes it can be tough because there's not really an off switch when it comes to what I do. And it can be tough. Certainly. And it's not just with what I do. It's in many different, industries. I'm sure you even witness it in psychology.
See it. Yes, there are burned out therapists out there.
Yeah,
there absolutely are.
And it's tough because those are the people that you think that you rely on for your issues, when in reality, it's tough, because it sort of goes back to what is the old joke? What came first, the chicken or the egg? And it's, who does the therapist see when the therapist needs therapy? And then when that therapist needs therapy, who do they see? And is it just one big circle? And it's tough, because we have to remember people who are the psychologist, the therapist, the psychiatrist, they are all human too. You're human. We all are human.
Most of the time.
But we all need to make sure to take care of one another. And I think that's what a lot of people forget about, because that burnout does transcend, not just in your industry or my industry. It transcends every industry.
Definitely. No, it can. There's every single industry, every single job. I've seen caregiver burnout for somebody taking care of a relative.
That's a big one.
Who's not necessarily even a professional caregiver.
Yeah.
A person can burn out on anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
literally.
they can burn out being a social media star. They can burn out
They
doing
can.
podcasts. They can burn out doing anything.
They can.
And it is very important. And, again, I go back to, I do not make light of the situation. I am somebody who tries to bring levity into situations, and
Yes.
my brain always works as if it's just one big joke. But I do see the serious side of everything, and burnout is real. And I tell people all the time, it's important to take care of yourself. Take those mental health days.
Definitely.
Take a break. Play hooky. Run free for a day. Even if you're just running across a field, be careful. There are a lot of ticks out there, so maybe avoid the fields.
It's good advice.
But for this next question,
Sure.
what is the best way, just from your point of view, to sort of slow down or take a step back from burnout?
So it really depends on the individual, but there are lots of good ways to do it. Some people swear by meditation or yoga. Other people, exercise is really important. Reading is a good way to deal with burnout, or developing some kind of hobby that is going to be of interest to you, just something new.
Yeah.
Try something that is brand new from what you're doing. So, I might, I do psychology all day. So if I feel like I could be, and it's easier to tell the story in the first person, burned out on it, maybe I'll go and, learn how to draw or something that doesn't have much direct connection to what it is that I do all day.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, and developing and learning new things, I think keeps us from getting burned out, and also limiting even the things you like. Like we all like, I love pizza. I could eat it for every meal, but do I? No. Do I want to? Yes.
Damn, I'm hungry. You shouldn't have said pizza. That's all I'm going to think about now.
That's all I ever think about.
But yeah, you're right. There are things that they're good to sort of tie back to the ways that you can treat yourself. It doesn't mean to be, hey, eat pizza every day, because it is good to be healthy. But, you're having that burnout. Take it back to something that you're like, hey, this makes me happy. I always try to look back at something that I enjoyed when I was a kid.
That's great. Yeah.
Bring me back to a simpler time. There's
That's
so many
idea.
great things when you have anxiety or burnout, grounding or different things
Grounding's
like
wonderful.
that. But, I give me a Lunchable for lunch today. Take me back to a time where things were so much more simpler. And I think that gives you perspective on how your life is. You really try to take that step back and you say, yes, things may be tough in this moment, but there is so much good from what comes from it. There are so many things that are happy or bring me joy. I need to remember those things and remember that this is just a moment. This is not Gandalf standing on the edge saying, "None shall pass." This is my moment to take a step back, relax, be okay. And I think people need to remember that, and that's a drive, and something I appreciate, of you being able to touch on those things that make you happy, to tie those back into them.
No, it's important. A person needs to have several things to make them happy. Find several ways to refresh themselves and recharge. Not everybody. Travel is a great way to deal with burnout, but if you can, and it doesn't have to be like I'm traveling all the way to, I don't know, Antarctica to go and hang out with the penguins. It could be that you're just going to go to a coffee shop and work from there for the day, just to get a different vantage point, literally.
That's fair. Yeah. And I tell people that all the time, even the people
That's good
who
advice.
Still work from home. My wife is one of those people that never really went back to an office because her job is literally all virtual. There is no office to go to. And that's how the world has evolved. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, if you're bored sitting in your office or on the couch or whatever, wherever you choose to work, I can take a day where we just go work at a coffee shop, or I can trade you and be at home, because I'm always the one who's out talking to people, and I probably need a home day versus another day out. But I think that's important, and people fail to remember that sometimes, that you can change your environment to make it for the better.
Certainly.
And even if it's not, even if it's, I don't have a car, I don't have the money, or I don't have these things, we're in the weather now where it's as simple as I could go sit at the park for free.
Right.
And I can still work there. Most people have hot spots. Beautiful thing about the Blair, Memorial Library here in Clawson is that you can rent a hot spot.
Fantastic.
That's, insane.
Saves a ton of money.
Saves a ton of money, and it's something that you can rent, and it's I'm pretty sure it's a free service.
It is.
So that's something to tie back into the community that you can do if you're from Clawson. If you're not, look at your local public library. I'm sure that they have the same opportunity. And I know our library connects with so many different things. So just there are ways around it where you can say, well, I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I don't have, there are always going to be excuses, but there are ways that you can look at that. And it's good to be able to reach out to somebody who might know or might be able to help you in that situation. So as we get to the end of this podcast, because I'm sure we could record, this could be a 3-hour podcast at this point. I looked at the time, it was like, oh wow, we're getting close to what we normally cut off at. So because we still have a decent amount to go. We have I've got 2 more sections. We've got Walter's Corner, so we're gonna go through this.
All right,
but we don't have to speed through it. We've got our time. So this little section is the section I ask everybody, and it's the importance of what a chamber is and what the Clawson Chamber brings. So if I was to ask you, if somebody who didn't know anything about a chamber or was not sure they wanted to join or whatever the case may be, what would you tell somebody when it comes to a chamber or the Clawson Chamber, why you should join?
Well, I think the people I've met through the Clawson Chamber have been incredibly helpful and encouraging. I would say to join for that reason. It's a good networking opportunity. It is a great way to just learn different information about what's going on in Clawson and ways to be involved in the community, not just the business community, but the community at large, because the chamber does a lot for the community in general, in ways that you wouldn't think. The chamber also offers a lot of different ways to meet people, like golf outings and just like the speed networking you mentioned, the young professionals, which you so kindly changed the age for me. So thank you.
Hey, age is just a number. We're all young at heart.
I like it.
But yeah, you are correct. And this is the joke I always make every time, and it's probably getting old at, episode 9. But this is the toot my own horn section.
You're allowed.
And something that we've really been developing here with the chamber is the added benefits for everybody. Obviously there are going to be things that are just benefits for chamber members, but my goal is to expand this chamber to the community so community members come out. Something we did was Grow Clawson, and it's something that I'm trying to get to catch on. It's an educational series where people can come out. You don't have to be a business owner. You don't have to be a member of the chamber. You don't have to be X, Y, and Z, any reason you could think of to say, I can't come to this thing. It's open and it is free to everybody. Grow Clawson happens on the 4th Tuesday of every month at 6:30. That timing may change. We're going to put a survey out there for chamber members to see what makes the most sense. But we've had Adam, we've had other people, we've had Walter, our gracious producer, do presentations that provide opportunities for people to understand, because whether it's Adam's side, whether you're a small business owner or you have some kind of mental health or burnout when it comes to the business you work for or you participate in, or you're Walter who does video production, podcast production, all these amazing things, there are a lot of positives when it comes to what we do. And it's not just a good old boys club, or you got to be a member, you got to be these things, because I want people to come out to understand what it is. Because we're continuing to grow and we're continuing to evolve. So, make sure to check out clawsonchamber.org under the events calendar. It's a great place for you to check out what we do. And that's the end of the Toot Alex Own Horn section. We're going to finish up with a couple of more personal insights, closing questions-ish. So what is one piece of mental health advice that everybody should hear?
Well, I would say that if you feel like something is off, that you feel like you need to change, it's okay to get help.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
It's okay to get help.
It's okay to get help. And I would also say that if a person is feeling like they're in crisis, we do have the 988 number.
Which is very important.
Which is really, really important. I feel like you can give that number out like candy. It's a national suicide prevention hotline number, and just call it. And there are trained there are trained counselors on the other line who can help in a crisis situation. So
yeah, very important.
I like to let people know about that. That's just a resource for them.
That's good. What habit has the biggest positive impact on emotional well-being?
There are probably a couple different ones, and it would probably depend on the person.
Give me one that just comes to mind.
Sure. So exercise is a good one. I would also say reading is a good one. And also, like, it's going to sound a little crazy, but hygiene is a big one. Making sure to just, take care of yourself, brushing teeth, taking a shower, baseline kinds of things every day.
Fair.
Helps a person to feel a little prouder and calmer and more confident.
That one was pointed at Walter. Stinky. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I just go back to levity because that's, I think, in my world, that's what makes the world go round. But it is true, it's good to focus on those things. What gives you hope in your work?
What gives me hope in my work is watching people grow and achieve their goals. That's really what gives me hope, especially in circumstances where that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
The fact that they are willing to challenge themselves, even by doing little things. So somebody who has been afraid to apply for a job suddenly applies for just a single job, sends an application, and gets an interview. Things like that are really, really good to see.
That's awesome. What is one myth about psychology you would like to retire forever?
That we can read minds. If I could read minds, boy, oh boy, this world look way different.
You'd be a millionaire.
Right.
Or a billionaire.
Maybe even a trillionaire.
Yeah. You'd be kicking Musk's butt.
Right.
Kicking him down the stairs.
So, yeah, we can't read minds. Like I said earlier, we're there to help with helping people figure out what it is that they want to do and what's the best thing for them.
Okay.
That's really what therapy and psychology, I think, are all about.
All right, as we wrap up my section, before we jump into Walter's corner,
Sure.
That's the most unhinged corner we have, so be careful.
It's all good.
If a listener remembers one thing from today's conversation, just one thing, what should it be?
I think the most important, you asked for just one, so I'll give you just one. Follow directions.
Yeah,
here.
follow directions,
Right.
Adam.
We got to follow directions. So,
doctor.
Right.
Doctor.
Doctor I am today.
Doctor.
So the thing that I would say is what I've been saying a lot of is that if you feel like something's off, it's okay to get help for it. And there's no shame in asking for help.
Okay.
So no shame in asking for what you need. It's all about helping, do your best to help yourself live the best life you can.
And if you need anything deeper than that, Adam is here.
Of course.
All right, so we're going to jump into Walter's corner, and then the last little bit is going to be an opportunity for you to, introduce your exciting new news that you have on the horizon, where people can find you, reach out to you if, they have any questions, or, whether they can become your patient or one of your colleagues or whatever the case may be. So we're going to jump into Walter's corner. Walter!
What's up, Doc? How you doing?
Hey, good, thanks, Walter. How are you?
What's up, Doc?
Doing pretty well.
Good.
First and foremost, thank you so much for being here and taking the time.
My pleasure.
Thanks to you guys. I have two questions here for you.
Yes, sir.
First question I have, and this is maybe more of a, give me your insights on so we have been kind of a little bit of a nucleus here of social media and AI. I'm going to dive into the AI section here because I'm sure you are made aware that people are starting to rely on AI for connection, and almost using it as a substitute for human connection. Having them kind of like, again, almost like as a friend.
Right.
What would you say? Is that a detriment to the overall aspect of human to human connection, and can that warp one's psyche in kind of looking at that as, okay, that's a real thing, as opposed to talking to someone that's that is a human being? Like, I'd love to hear your insight and commentary on that.
Certainly. Yeah, thanks for asking. So the thing I think about when I think about AI is like we were saying earlier, like Alec had said, that it's a tool, and you can use it for something productive and good, or a person can use it for something that is detrimental, not just to society, but to themselves, without necessarily meaning to. Sort of like if you eat too much pizza, which I would do if given the chance, but I won't. It's not gonna be healthy for me. I won't get all the nutrients that I need because I've repeated the same food, and it's not good for me to do that. So I think you can use AI and certainly have a talk to it about asking it to look up facts or correct your grammar on something, or even ask it for cooking advice or something in a pinch. But as far as it replacing like a therapist or a friend or a relationship of any kind with a human, it's a supplement. It's not the main attraction. It's a supplement. It augments your relationships. It doesn't replace them if it's used right.
Absolutely. I love that answer. Thank you. Next question I have for you. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I have two.
Go for it. That's
two
all right.
more.
That's all right.
Tell me something about what you do that you don't like and why.
Oh, what I don't like. Well, it's how you don't become a teacher to take attendance. Well, you don't become a psychologist to become a note writer and deal with notes and billing and that side of the house. The people that, fortunately, I'm lucky. I have good billing people who help me with that. But note writing, I do it. It's the law. We have to do it. People expect it, and of course, it gets done. But is it my favorite thing in the world to do? No, my favorite thing to do is to interact with the clients and to teach my students and to just do those things and to do my research and to sit on city council. So I guess I have like 4 favorite things.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And last question I have for you is, when you are not helping out your clients and helping them build a better mental health stability overall, what are some things that you enjoy doing in your pastime, your favorite hobbies, activities, or something for you to decompress?
Yeah, so I really enjoy music. I'm a huge music fan. I don't play any. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Any kind of music. If people have new things,
Walter's ears.
Now I'm curious what you. Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Guitar.
Nice.
I play guitar.
That's a bad joke.
So I don't play anything other than the stereo anymore, but I love listening to all kinds of different music. A colleague of mine is from Spain, and she sent me texted me some music from Spain, which was really, really good. Some Spanish rock and roll, which was cool.
Oh, okay.
Just things like that. Like I love to explore. I love to find new bands and new songs.
Okay.
It's always been a lot of fun for me. I like to travel when I can. My partner and I really like going to Canada because it's so close. And one of my research interests is Canada and psychology in Canada. And so we'll find, or at least I find excuses to tell her that we should go to Canada for various things.
There's no such thing as psychology in Canada.
Oh no, it's great. It totally is.
They're just nice.
No, everybody really is so kind up there.
Sorry,
I really appreciate it. So I'm a member of the.
I am part Canadian. Okay, I
Are
can
you really?
say it. Yeah, that's my grandparents on my
That's
mom's
really cool.
side. They're from River, Manitoba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like kind of the country.
Oh, hell yeah, it's country.
They still live up there?
Oh, they're all dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. See, that's why I don't put a laugh track on here, because Walter is my laugh track. Yeah, no, River, Manitoba, and then my mom's dad was from Saskatchewan.
Okay. Yeah. I know right where that is.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite bands you're listening to right now?
So lately I've been into like
Bad Bunny.
the class. Lately I've been into like I've gone back to the 60s and 70s rock.
Okay.
Like
Bad
the
Bunny.
Beatles, Led Zeppelin, those kinds of bands. I've always liked them, and lately I've just put them on my tracks again.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to everything. I really like country. I like rock. I like rap. I was listening to Tupac the other day. I was, let's see what else. Jazz.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with some like old school Ella Fitzgerald or Lionel Hampton is awesome. Going through all the genres. This morning I felt like I needed some classical, so I was listening to some Johann Sebastian Bach. I really like pretty much everything, except I have to be convinced. I'm still not convinced about opera yet.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, I will say two things, though.
What about some EDM?
Yeah, EDM's good.
Yeah.
As far as the Beatles go, I don't know if you're aware, but they, in the recent years, like the past few years, they've so George Martin's son, Giles, he did a remixing of some of their albums, including Sgt. Pepper, Revolver, Abbey Road, and he even did their Red and Blue Greatest Hits
R.R.
compilation. Yeah, George R.R. Martin. It's amazing. And I'm very skeptical when it comes to remasters and remixes.
Right, is what it should be.
But he did it very, very well, and it was done right. And then as far as jazz goes, there is my go-to jazz listening right now. It's a CD, yes, because I still get CDs. Just say yes to physical media, say no to streaming. And
They'll take it away from you.
That's right. They will take it away. There's an artist by the name of Joe Henderson. It came out in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, and the CD is called Relaxing at Camarillo, and it is phenomenal. So
I'll have to check that out. Joe Henderson. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Spyro Gyra has been on my list too.
Okay, all right. Some of that.
Lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yellow Jackets, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of like acid jazz.
Yeah.
And,
Weather
yeah.
Report.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't mix them up for Joe Hendry.
And then
we
of
all
course-
believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
And then
If you're a
blues, a
wrestling
lot of
fan,
blues.
you get that. If you're not, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just thinking about now. Got me thinking about all this music, but yeah, I'm
All right,
a
quit
big blues
nerding
fan
out.
too.
All right.
Walter's
yeah, we
corner
got-
is going way
Yeah.
over. Walter, get back
All
in your
right.
corner.
Back to you, Alec.
Walter, get back in your corner. What a day. I got nothing else. All right.
all
So
good,
yeah, we can nerd out about music. We're already over what we're supposed to be at. So we're living the dream. All right. So this last little bit is where give us your exciting news on what is coming up.
Yeah, so I am working on opening. So right now, all the work I do is from my home, and I see clients virtually. We are working on opening a full office, hopefully here in Clawson would be my hope. And we are called Parallax Psychology Group because I got the name because parallax is different vantage points, and sometimes if you have somebody help you look at something from a different vantage point, you feel more confident about it, or maybe will make the changes you need to with it. And people can, we'll do individual therapy, we'll do some group therapy, and there'll probably be about 6 of us working together. And we'll hopefully, like I say, be located here in Clawson. Alec and the Chamber have been wonderful about helping us kind of scout out some sites. Another reason to join the Chamber. So my goal is to have a place by August or September that we can finally move into and call our home. And we really want to be a resource for the community. where people can go if they need help or want to get more information. We'll have a website, which is, I'm working on it now. It will be www.parallaxpsychologygroup.com. And if you would like to reach out, you can contact me. It's just Adam, ADAM, at parallaxpsychologygroup.com. So it's kind of a long email. Again, it's Adam at parallaxpsychologygroup.com. And that's the quickest way to get a hold of me. You can also call our office. It's 248-658-8070. And we're gonna, we're gonna start taking people in probably late July, early August.
Nice.
So if you need something sooner, there's always Psychology Today has a great therapist directory that you can go to where they list some folks.
That's exciting. We've got a lot, coming up, and Adam, you've been, since I met you, you've been such a great guy. You've always been
likewise
willing to work with me, and
it's my pleasure.
The chamber, and it's cool to have you as a partner on City Council now, and
likewise,
just doing a lot of fun stuff in Clawson, and I continue to look forward to doing that. And
me too.
Seeing all the amazing things that we can do. So
a lot of things we can do.
A lot of good things we can do. And I'm hoping that we get a lot done and we keep going for the future. But the goal of this podcast is, to learn about what you do and who you are, outside of what people might know or might think. So very happy to have you on today.
It's been an honor.
This is a big thank you from me, and
pleasure.
I'm glad we were able to work it out and get it set.
Me too.
We're going to continue to film these shows, continue to put them out, see a lot of good stuff, introduce you to a lot of great businesses.
Thank you.
And continue to do these great things. So, so this is another episode of Growing Clawson, Clawson Chamber of God. This is another episode of Growing Clawson, a Clawson Chamber of Commerce podcast powered by Hooper Marketing. We are excited to continue to expand what we do with this podcast. We're going to have a lot of interesting ones coming up. We already have the next several weeks scheduled. We will have the mayor on. We will have the creators of Clawson Fest on. We will have so many amazing people. And as I say that, I will realize that by the time this comes out, it might not be relevant to where we're at in the recording schedule. So I am just having another long day, apparently. But yeah, so again, thank you for tuning in. Check us out. We are on YouTube at Clawson Chamber of Commerce. We will be posting clips out on our Instagram, Clawson Chamber, on our Facebook, Clawson Chamber of Commerce. We are also on the Golden app, which is created by Jay Adams, a Clawson Chamber member, which is super exciting. It's a great platform to listen to podcasts on. We will also be on Spotify and currently working on copying the RSS feed over to Apple Music and Amazon. So those will be coming shortly here soon. Very excited to continue this, and thank you again for tuning in. Special shout out to Adam,
Thanks,
Doctor,
Yes.
and our wonderful producer, Walter. I may make fun of him all the time, but he is a godsend, and I would be nowhere without him. So thank you, Walter, for everything you do. That is it. See you next time, folks. Bye.
Right.
Thank you again for joining us today. This is another episode of Growing Clawson, a Clawson Chamber of Commerce podcast powered by Hooper Marketing. Please make sure to like and subscribe and to leave a comment on future opportunities or people you'd like to see us interview.